with Flexbox and with CSS Grid especially, there's a lot of nuance as far as, many projects are not bespoke pages where somebody's hand designing one page of content. They're designing for a content management system, and it's a templating system, and it's going to churn out article after article after article for a big newspaper, or it's going to churn out blog post after blog post, and you have no idea how long the headline is going to be. You have no idea how long the teaser text is going to be. You have no idea how long the article is. And what we end up with a lot on the web is people, and inside apps as well, people will just truncate the content. Like that teaser headline can be 2 lines, and if it's longer than that, we'll just chop the last word and we'll put a ... after it, and you end up with these horrible, horrible results. Grid and Flexbox let us instead just let the space grow if the headline's longer. Just let the photo, this photo has this aspect ratio, and this other photo has this one, and this other photo is shaped like this, and this other photo is shaped like this. Like, it's fine. The layout can morph and change in order to meet those needs. And that, to me, is the true essence of understanding this medium, is understanding that it's always a little bit different. It's almost like this sort of 3D puzzle. You're never really quite sure what it's going to be. So how to communicate that you want this column to squish and this column should always stay the same, or these should squish within this certain ratio to each other. These are things that need to be decided, and I don't know whether it's going to be that designers ignore all that reality and don't really understand the medium, and they just send, and maybe they're Photoshop documents, maybe now they're Keynote decks, or maybe they're sketch drawings, right? There may be a little bit more flexibility in them, but they may just send those off to the developer and never talk to them. And the developers are going to be left to basically do the last 25% of the design. But the developers will be designers, because developers will be figuring out how that will work, whether they should squish or not, or how to rearrange everything. And as a designer, I want to be involved in that process. I don't want to just hand it off to people who may or may not do something I'm pleased with. So I think there's many ways to do that. One way is for people, designers and developers, to just really collaborate. And I see that more and more and more post-responsive design transition, where it isn't this separate experience, or the separate workflow where like these people never talk to these people and they just throw PDFs over the wall. Like they actually get together in meetings, and there's all this collaboration from the very beginning. So before the design even starts, the developers are in the room so that they can pipe up and say, this is what's going to work best for performance. The designers are there all the way to the end, reviewing things as they get built, so that as these questions come up, people can answer them. One way for designers, for these hard questions to be answered, and for designers and developers to work together, is to do prototypes. To do as many sketches on paper as you want, to do as many Photoshop drawings and sketch the app drawings as you want. Use any tools that you want. Use whatever tools help you figure out what it is that you want to do. But at some point, get it into a browser. Get it into HTML and CSS. Get it into the real medium that it's going to live in. I like to do that before final decisions are made. So if there's some sort of executive, some sort of CEO, a board of directors, somebody who's going to sign off, yes, we like this, having them sign off on Photoshop documents is going to create a world of hurt. Getting those things into some kind of prototype, any sort of CSS, HTML, then you hand them a tablet, you hand them a phone, you go to the meeting with multiple browsers. They have a chance to look at it on their version of IE, because that's what they use, and that you mailed them a URL. Like, get it into a prototype, and people can start to see that it's going to look different in each browser. It's not a big deal. You don't even have to talk about it. You can just let them see and make decisions about the actual medium, because that is what we're building. We're making websites. We're not making PDFs.